I always wanted to have a Lotus Elise, and I couldn't really afford it to drive with one daily to work and back, because it's not that comfortable, at least not where I live and the type of roads we have. So therefore I would always needed a second car. So I looked around for a very cheap Lotus Elise, and I didn't mind to find one with work on. And I found this 2003 135R. It has a lot of body damage, and I was able to get it for about 5,000 euros, so I will actually rebuild it. So this is the 135R, and I wasn't sure initially that it was one, but then I found this little plate here that actually states it and confirms it. It says basically customized by Lotus Sports and Performance, and build number 064. So this car actually was built in 2003, and it was a special edition where about 150 of them were built. That's at least what I could find on the internet, but if you guys know something more about this, I would love to hear about it. But before you make that decision to buy a damaged Elise, you have to make sure that it is economical, feasible to repair it. You can always repair it, of course, but you have to be able to do it within a certain cost level. Sometimes it may even be better to buy one in a good condition than one which is damaged like this one, because parts can be very expensive, especially the polymer body parts like the front clamshell and the back clamshell. If those are damaged, they run up for quite a high price. And then in addition, if it's a car that comes out of a crash, you may have a bent or twisted chassis. When I say chassis, I mean the aluminum framework of the car. Now when I say bent, I meant like this, right? And when I talk about twisted, it's what the chassis does this. So these are things to watch out for. So I'm going to go through this car on an assessment on how much it's going to cost me to have it fixed. The first thing to assess the damage on the car is to have a close look all around the car. So we'll start on this side, and this side it looks pretty much okay, but that's just because you haven't seen the front yet and you haven't seen the back yet. So you could imagine that the rear clamshell looks good here, but it doesn't really, and the same applies to the front clamshell that is also damaged. So let's go around, but at least the door and the sills are okay on this side, so that's a good point. And also the front cover here is still intact. And another very important aspect are the rims. Now if you look on the rims, they are not damaged, so that means they didn't hit anything. So that is a good sign for the actual aluminum body. That probably is not going to be twisted, but we'll measure it out anyhow. So let's have a look at the front. Oops, that hurts. The front shell is kind of gone, as you can tell. In fact, the car has hit a post right here and with barbed wire, and it ripped away the whole side of the car. But what you can see is that the crash box up front is slightly damaged, but not that much. So at least I'm going to need a new front shell on this car. Now let's have a look at the suspension. So the front right wheel, that looks good. There's no damage on the rim whatsoever, and the suspension seems to be okay. Also the lower part here is okay. So this is the place where the car hit the post, and you can see this carbon structure here. That's what they call the crash box, and it's actually glued further down there on the aluminum body. It's to protect the driver basically in the instance of a crash, but in this case it is slightly damaged, not much, but still I will replace it because I don't want to take chances with safety. The top part is just some polyester stuff around the radiator, so that I will have to change as well. So the door itself is okay. There's some cosmetics to be done on that, but that's okay. That is easy to fix. So the door I don't have to worry about. The part which is really worrying is the sill. And as you can see, the rear clamp is totally destroyed. I would almost say fucked up. So that will have to be replaced. But again, the rim is intact. It doesn't seem to have any damage on it. So I will need a new rear clamshell, and I also will probably need a new sill. Now, the clamshells, to remove them are easy. They are glued on the car. Sorry, they are not glued. They are actually bolted down on the car, but the sill is a glued panel, so they actually glued down the polymer onto the aluminum body, so you have to cut it off, and it's quite a tedious job to do. And it's just the tip of the wing which is missing here of the sill, so that's yeah, a shame. I don't think I can put a piece on here. That's going to be too hard to find. But if you guys know about it, or a method on how to do that, and if you know of inserts, then please let me know by all means, because I would really be interested in that. All right. Well, we've seen the rear clamp. That's gone. So now let's have a look in the back. Well, we already knew that the rear clamshell will have to be replaced. There's no way around it. And then also the diffuser seems to be badly bent. But that maybe we can straighten up. And then there's some grilling that's a bit, you know, I would say destroyed. And it seems like that the exhaust pipes also had a little bit of a touch, because that seems to be going up a little bit. But that's okay. These are small things, heating up the exhaust a bit, and you can bend it back in place. That is not that bad. Well, we've looked at the body of the car, so I know I need the front clamshell. I also know that I need a crash box in the front. I need the inner wing shields. I will need a new polyester radiator molding, and I will need a new sill, and I need a new rear clamshell. That's basically all the stuff I'm going to need on this car. So that's quite some stuff, and these clamshells can be expensive. You'll find one for €1,000 second-hand original, or you can buy an aftermarket one, but people don't recommend it. But please let me know if you know of any good ones. And then I can get on with the car. So the next thing we'll do is to put the car on a stand, and we'll measure out the chassis, if it's still straight, if it's not bent or twisted. Well, let's have a look. Well, that's pretty obvious. There's actually a wire here. It almost looks like a wire from a chicken fence, which is wrapped around the drive shaft. So that's it, and it ripped apart the gator basically. So I will either have to replace the gator or the whole drive shaft. The rest looks okay to me. And the car had no brakes, but then I'm not surprised, because here's the hose. So the brake hose has snapped. No wonder I had no brakes. All right. That seems to work, even the alarm.